Welcome to Handi Quilter's Watch and Learn. I'm Kim Sandberg, and with me today is Kelly Ashton. We're both studio educators here at Handi Quilter, and today we are so excited to show you a bunch of the awesome accessories that come for that are available for the Moxie, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So Kelly, tell us, why don't you get us started on this?
We love Moxie. This machine came out last year in 2020, and it's been so exciting.
Yes.
People love the Moxie. So we want you to know about the accessories that we have available. And the first one is my favorite. You can do rulers on the Moxie, but the first thing you need to get is a steady fit ruler base. So it comes 15-inch, just perfect for the Moxie. It's just like this. And it also comes with these little pegs that hold the ruler base in place. So the only installation is that you'll need to put those little screws in these pegs and put them in the machines. The holes are already drilled. And then when you put the ruler base on, there's little grooves where those pegs fit. So we just set this ruler base just past that first peg, give it a little push, and it's right in place. So that is the steady fit ruler base for the Moxie.
That's super easy. And using rulers completely opens up a world of design choices, right, Kelly?
I love rulers. You've got to give them a try. I just want to show you a feature of the frame system that goes with the Moxie, Kim. So it's not an accessory, but it's a feature, and I just wanted to show people, because I've seen people trying to set them up both ways, and I just want to have a place where people can look and see the visual on how they're supposed to be. Okay?
Exactly.
So if you're familiar with like our studio frame or a gallery frame, we have, our position is called standard. It's just standard view, right? And on our Moxie or on our loft frame, we have an option where you can set it up in high position, which is just the same as standard on the others. And so the frame system works the same. It's loaded the same. We put our backing fabric on this front pull. We put our quilt top on the second pull, and then our take-up leader is here in the back. With our idler pull there. That's the same, right? But this is what's different, is that our backing goes to this front pull, and our quilt top goes to the inside pull. Okay?
So and when you put your leaders on, what direction do you want to have your leaders
when you
going?
have it in high position, both leaders fall to the inside of the pulls. They're both going to be to the inside. They're falling to the inside. Okay? All right.
Sense.
So now let's look at low position.
Low position. Okay.
Which is similar to clear view on our other frame system. Okay. All right. Now when you're setting up your loft frame, there's something that you have to do when you're putting these side arms on. Okay. So these are in the same position. I'll stand back here. They are in the same position, but when it's in high position, you use the different holes in the frame. When it's in low position, this has to sit a lot lower. Now, these machines, the height is set up differently, so don't let that deceive you. This one is actually set up higher, and this one's set up lower. This is really
low.
Really low. So this is way too low for me to quilt at. But the point of it is that this side arm sits lower. And now, when we're looking at the pulls, this one that I touch with my arms, the outer one, this holds your quilt top. And the inner pole holds your quilt back.
So they're actually switched from high position, right?
Yes, they're switched. Now, it works very similar. The other thing you have to switch is the ratchet stops. When they're in high position, they both fall to the outside. When they're in low position, they both fall to the front of the machine. So they'd go like this. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, so why would we choose high position or low position?
Well, what are the advantages of each one? What are the advantages of high position?
Well, they're both versatile. You can use, so I hear people think that they can only use one or the other for certain things. You can quilt anything in this position. You can quilt anything in this position. Okay? Even though this looks like it, it doesn't give you any more throat space. The throat space is the same. For me, when it's in high position, the bobbin is a little more easily accessible. And then having this pull here, it gives me a clear view of when I'm running out of quilt throat space.
It's kind of that boundary edge for you, right?
I kind of know I'm running out of space there. I know when to stop. But that's just kind of years of doing it, okay? So if I'm going to put it in the low position, and if you like to work with rulers, this just kind of gets this top pull out of the way so that your ruler isn't bumping into it.
Right.
That does not mean that I can't quilt rulers on this position.
Right.
I can quilt, I've quilted rulers in this position for 15 years.
Right.
But this just gets that pull out of the way if I'm working with rulers.
Exactly.
Some people prefer it this way for other reasons. They just like that it's an open, clear view.
Right. Right.
Do you have a preference?
You know what? I actually tend to quilt in what would be considered low position in the clear view. I don't know. For me, it just works well for me. But
Yeah.
it's just a personal preference,
Right.
honestly.
I'm a creature of habit.
Yeah.
I've loaded for so long in the standard view that's just what I have a tendency to go to, even though I use rulers on almost every quilt.
Right. Right.
So it's just nice that you have the option to choose what works best for you.
Right.
So-
And if you have questions, like if you decide you've started out in high position and you want to switch to low position, just refer to the manual for
Yeah.
the loft frame. There's instructions on the last page, I believe it's page 22, that instruct you on how to make that change.
Yes, and really all it is taking out a few screws and just lowering this to the other holes. So
Exactly.
it's not hard to do.
No,
Okay?
it's not.
All right.
Well, we've got that figured out now, the difference
Yeah.
between high position and low position. What else do we need to talk about?
Kim, I want to show you about another accessory
Okay.
for the Moxie. All right?
Yeah.
So it is the Groovy Board stylus.
Ooh.
So you can get a Groovy Board stylus to use with the Moxie. If you've not used Groovy Boards before, they look like this. Some of them are longer, but the Groovy Board stylus, it comes like this. I already have one installed on the machine, but you just have to install this part to your Moxie. It just takes a couple of screws to put it in there.
Okay.
And it's a spring-loaded stylus.
Oh.
So this drops down. I'll show you it right here by the, so we can just drop this little stylus right into the grooves.
Wow.
And if you stabilize the Groovy Board,
Ah.
okay?
So Kelly, what you're telling me is Groovy Boards are just another way to like quilt from the back, meaning to do like an edge to edge or some kind of a design from the back.
That's right, Kim. It's an easy way to put a design edge to edge across your quilt. You're just using the handlebars at the back.
At the back.
Yeah.
And it's dropping down into that groove. It makes it really easy to follow, right?
Yeah, it just stays, the little stylus stays right in those grooves. So it just,
Awesome.
you just have to drive it through those grooves to get through the pattern to put that design on your quilt.
That's awesome. I think that's a really great accessory
Yeah.
for the Moxie. Talked about the tabletop that you need that so we can put our Groovy Boards on top of it. I have one other question about Groovy Boards. Can you do a Groovy Board with just one Groovy Board, or do we need probably more than a few?
So strongly recommend
Yes.
that you get at least two.
Yeah.
So of the same design. So like right here I have the Baptist fan, right? So if I had two of these, once I quilted to the end, I could just take the second one and leapfrog it and then just make it a continuous line.
Exactly.
So you really, I think you'd be a lot happier and have better success if you had at least two. I know some people like to get them to cover the whole back of their machine, which
Right.
would be three. But if you have at least two, I think you would be great working with Groovy Boards.
Okay, that's awesome.
But there's a couple of things that you have to be able to use this Groovy Board stylus.
Okay.
Okay? And the first one is you have to buy the tabletop kit because the
Right.
loft frame,
Right.
it comes as an 8-foot frame, but the back of it is open.
Right.
So you have to have a tabletop to be able to put the Groovy Boards on. And the next thing you have to have is you have to have the quilt from the back kit. So can you tell us about the quilt from the back kit?
Yes. So here's the quilt from the back kit. It is the handlebars that you attach to the back of the machine. And then it comes with this laser pointer and a little post to put the laser pointer on. The part that you need to use when you're doing Groovy Boards is the handlebars. You wouldn't have this part hooked up, right?
Right. So I drop the stylus down in the grooves, but I'm actually driving the stylus with the handlebars. So you have
Exactly.
to have the handlebars. So.
You have to have the handlebars if you want to use the Groovy Board,
Yeah.
or if you want to do pantographs. So, and the other accessory that you need is the tabletop. So if we take a look down here, I actually have a pantograph set up. It is just a pattern that's on a long roll of paper. Sometimes we print them out, tape them together. Lots of different ways to get these. But what we do is we use this laser to follow the design from the back, so I can quilt like this going along. So rather than dropping the stylus into the groove, I'm just following a pattern on a printed paper. So the quilt from the back kit, awesome. You need it for either the Groovy Board or if you want to do pantographs.
And can I just suggest that if you're using the laser light for pantographs, that you want to kind of aim the laser light about 2 or 3 inches away from the side of the machine, so that you don't like kink your neck trying to watch it. So you can just kind of look down to the side and not twist your neck funny. So.
Exactly. And I believe Christina and Johnny did a watch and learn not too long ago all about pantographs. And so we do have a lot of really great tips in that video about how to use pantographs if you've got questions about that.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right, awesome. And we have one last accessory to show you. So we can actually add casters to this frame.
Nice.
Isn't that nice? I love to be able to move the frame around easily. So this is the casters that we have. They're the mini casters, and you can just see they're so cute, aren't they? They're so cute and little. They come in sets of 2. And for this frame, you need 3 sets if you're set up at 8 foot.
Yeah.
So
show them the caster again, because it's so nice that it has like a break. Like you can set a lock on it.
It does. It has this little lock on it
that
I can actually just flip that down. And then my frame isn't going to go anywhere when I lean against it, because Kelly, we lean against our frames all the time, don't we? even though we always say, I'm not going to lean against the frame.
Yeah,
we do. So
okay, I want to say one more thing. The loft frame.
Yes.
It comes 8 foot. That's how it comes. But you can also get an extension. You can get a 2-foot extension to make it a 10-foot frame if you do those bigger quilts and you really want a little more space. So that you have that option as well.
This is such a fun machine. We've been able to watch this as it's been designed downstairs. I remember the first time one of the engineers came and got me and took me out to the warehouse and said, this machine is stitching, come check it out. It's really been exciting here at Handi Quilter to watch this come to fruition.
It has been, and it's been so much fun to get to test stitch on it and play with it. We love this machine. We've had so much fun with it. So let's talk about some of the fun features of the Moxie, Johnny.
Okay, so we have a 15-inch throat space, right?
Awesome.
1,800 stitches per minute.
Which is awesome.
Which is great.
You can stitch so fast on this. And what's the other awesome new thing that comes with the Moxie?
This new table, the HQ loft frame.
Right. And it is a little different than our other frames. You'll notice one big thing is we don't have the table in the back, because you don't need it, really.
Right.
Totally. It also comes in a different length than we've ever sold a table in, doesn't it?
This comes in 8 foot.
8 foot.
An 8-foot frame.
So it is going to fit really easily in those smaller spaces, which is awesome.
Right.
But
it is available in 10 foot as well.
Yeah, you can actually buy an extension to make it 10 foot, which means you can do quilts that are up to like 104, 108?
Yeah.
Somewhere right in there.
So let's talk about the person who's making the leap to a long arm.
Yeah, let's
We really wanted this machine to be right there to the person who's thinking about long arm, who's been eyeing one for a while, and this be able to get them into, I kind of call it the gateway drug to long arm quilting. Because if you've been thinking about it, this is the perfect machine and the perfect price point for that. I did see a question about someone asked about stitch regulation.
Yes.
It has the same stitch regulation as all the other machines.
Exactly. So it has precision and cruise. And look at Johnny go.
I'm going to do some E's and L's, the first things we teach.
And this machine is so smooth when it stitches. And it's just light and fun to stitch with, isn't it, Johnny?
It definitely is.
Oh my gosh, those E's and L's look so great. I love that.
E's and L's.
E's and L's, that's how we get started. You're just practicing, it's like writing in cursive, right? It's that smooth, free motion. So,
I think I did about as good as that, so yeah I'm doing okay.
I think it looks great. I think it looks totally great. I think your stitching matches up there.
Right.
So our next one is just a basic stipple. You want to do some stipple for us, Johnny?
I'd love to.
Okay.
I kind of started out with that, but...
That's okay.
Oh, that was a loop.
That's okay. Stipple. So stipple is like a meander. We just are filling in that space, but we're not letting the lines touch or cross over each other.
Unless you want to.
Unless you want to. So
you
Johnny,
can be the boss of your own quilt, is what we always say here. Now I'm going to make them cross over.
Oh, I love it with the loops. That's actually one of my favorite designs to just like get in the zone and quilt.
Right. And then in this example, we have moving on to stars.
Yes.
That's one of my favorites as well.
It is. Adding that star in. This reminds me of like doodling in junior high, right? In the notebook. Just like follow that line. But the trick is you don't ever want to pick up your pencil. Just keep that smooth line going. I love it, Johnny.
I'm going to start over here.
It's so fun.
It's a new spot.
You want to do a new spot?
Well, no, I just want to get fresh over there.
Okay, awesome. Oh, Johnny, it looks so great.
We also were kind of talking about, we wanted to mention like when we our first long arm, I guess, right?
Yes.
So I remember the first time I saw a long arm machine, it was in a quilt shop, and I was just amazed. My grandma tied quilts, and I didn't love the yarn ties on those. And first time I saw a long arm, I was like, I love that. I love the opportunity to, the option to make a smooth quilted quilt without the tying. And I knew I wanted one. I knew that I wanted one. So the option of getting something like this on the marketplace is so amazing.
Yeah, it really is. I know I started out, like I'm sure a lot of you have, I figured out that I could either quilt my own quilts or I could pay somebody to quilt them and not be able to buy as much fabric.
Right.
So I opted to quilt my own quilts on my home sewing machine, which it's a great option, but it can be a lot of work. Of course, the first one I quilted was a queen size quilt through that little tiny throat space. And I remember being down on the floor and basting it and doing all of that stuff. And for me, I look at this machine and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would never have to baste again, ever.
No more basting.
No more basting.
Get off your hands and knees. That's what I...
Get up off the floor.
Get off the floor.
You can
That's
roll
the
everything.
main message for this machine.
Yes.
Get off the floor.
Never baste again. So I absolutely love that the Moxie is just opening that up for so many people. They're going to have an opportunity to give long arming a try. Make a leap to the long arm, right, Johnny?
Make a leap, yep.
Yep. It's awesome.
So many options for the loft frame and the Moxie.
Yeah. Well, it's been so much fun today showing you all these great accessories for the Moxie. As Kelly mentioned, we love the Moxie. It is such a fun machine, and we're so excited to introduce all of these and have these available. We want to say thank you for joining us this week. Be sure and like our video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and join us again next week. But most of all, have fun quilting.